Yo, what is good, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy Chad bringing y'all another video. It's been a little minute since I made a video, honestly, but I was in Las Vegas with my mom and some of our friends, and yeah, just enjoying Vegas. Played a little bit of blackjack, lost some money, then won all my money back the last night. And then we also went to the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon, I'm not gonna lie to you all, it is so surreal that it looks like a 3D background or it looks like Photoshop, if we just gonna be honest. Like, it just doesn't look real. But anyways, enough of that. I'm finally back here in Georgia, so I'm back getting to the videos, man. And I just want to thank y'all for also I'm at 700 subscribers now, so it's been like a month since I've gone from like 300 to 700 or 200 to 700, but regardless, I thank you all a lot. All glory to God. Thank you guys for watching as well. But yeah, so in this video we're going to be talking about how the Australian government, they're doing the vaccine mandates or passports or whatever they need, but it's gotten super out of control. Like, I don't really know how it escalated this far. And part of me is like, maybe if the people in Australia had guns, but that's not even it. Like, I'm going to roll the clip here in a little bit, but just to give my 2 cents, it's really just like the Australian people have allowed this not even nonsense, just allowed their government to just reign over them in this type of tyrannical way, in my opinion. That, they should have spoke up a long time ago. They kind of just let this stuff happen, and people are okay with it. Like, it's one thing for your government to do stuff and you just sit quietly, but like for people to agree, people to like think it's a good thing, it's gone beyond that way, and I see it coming here to America next. But anyways, man, in this video, y'all are going to see how crazy this stuff truly is. And yeah, we'll be back after we see it.
It's those doing the wrong thing driving our record case numbers. Among the most concerning cases, a COVID patient who's tonight on the run from a hotspot. Police and health authorities have issued an urgent appeal.
Anthony Karam knows he is COVID positive when he steps into this public lift. Already breaking so many rules, he doesn't bother to cover his mouth as he sneezes and splutters. The 27-year-old is still infectious but has gone missing from his Wentworth Point apartment. A warrant now issued for his arrest.
This 27-year-old chap, who apparently has expressed the view that he doesn't care less whether he spreads the virus, is one example of the worst of the worst.
There's little sympathy for anyone ignoring the health orders, even this group of teenagers caught partying after dark at the bottom of the North Bondi Cliffs. Herded to higher ground by Polaire's spotlight and speaker, the 8 boys were placed in handcuffs and left to explain a $1,000 fine to mum.
681 penalty infringement notices issued in the last 24 hours. More than 400 of those notices were again for people being outside of their home without a reasonable excuse.
Sideline Sharks player Josh Dugan denies lying to police when he was found a long way from Sydney. The 31-year-old stopped at 11:30 last night in Lithgow, where he allegedly told officers he was moving to the area and feeding animals before admitting to visiting a friend. He and a passenger turned back to Sydney, only to be pulled over a second time, travelling in the wrong direction. The NRL is investigating and criminal charges could be laid. It's getting harder and harder to hide if you're doing the wrong thing, especially in the construction industry, a crackdown following on from the recent shutdown. Workers sent home if their paperwork isn't in check.
It is a struggle, but it's it's just what has to be done. Like, nobody likes telling people to go home. They've all got families to feed.
Our cameras rolling on another random blitz in Marsden Park.
Authorising me under the Public Health Act.
Inspectors have asked these tradesmen to show proof of their QR check-in as well as identification and vaccination records. One of the men here is from Campsie and he doesn't have his documentation, so he's being sent home. He may lose a chunk of his pay too if officers follow through with a fine. Tiffany Genders, 9 News.
All right, man. So y'all saw that. Now, I had to just write down some notes as I was going through it, just because it was like, I couldn't remember everything just because it was that long. But I'm just going to go down the list and just give my opinions on the stuff I heard. So, the news reporter, she started off saying it's those doing the wrong thing that are driving record case numbers. Now, the wrong thing in this instance, when we look at that video, they considered all those people doing the wrong thing. So we'll start off with the first dude, right? Anthony. They said Anthony was COVID positive and he was not covering his mouth to sneeze. And so they then issued a warrant for his arrest. Now, I get it, Anthony shouldn't be walking around while he has COVID positive and things like that. But buddy sneezed. Last time I checked, sneezing's a bodily function. Just like you yawning is a bodily function. Like, you can't really stop either one of those. Once you start yawning, you could try to hold it in, but you still gonna be yawning. And the sneeze, you can like hold a sneeze in like that. But besides that, like, you sneezing, like, it's no way to hold a sneeze in. So the fact these bitches being issued a warrant for his arrest for sneezing, that's a little much, bro. Like, that was already like, okay, like, that's a little weird, but, I could kind of see where they're coming from just due to him being COVID positive, but it's a sneeze. Then they said, those type of people are the worst of the worst, right? So it's like, he's sneezing, so he's the worst of the worst people. And, this goes back to, like, being in public. Like, I remember when, well, not even I remember, but, recently I had to sneeze in public. And, they say Delta's been ramping up and all that. And for a second, I was thinking in my head, like, if I sneeze, people are going to be thinking about me, like, oh, he must be sick. And then I was like, why does this matter? Everybody has to sneeze, so I just sneeze. Like, I don't have time to hide a sneeze. I don't have time to, I can sneeze into my arm, but I'm finna sneeze. Like, there's no other way for me to do it. I'm going to sneeze. I'm going to yawn. If I got to cough, clear my throat, I'm doing that. If people think, oh, he must be sick, that's on them. You feel me? Then it shows that, teens ignoring health orders, they were arrested and they can be given 1K fines. So in Australia, I guess, they have like, a health code out or health orders where you can't leave your house. You can't do this stuff. You have to have a valid reason. Like you saw in that dude who had left Sydney. And they also said, people being outside their home without a reasonable excuse. And it's gotten that far in Australia. Like, when has it been one of those things where you have to have a reasonable excuse for leaving your house? You don't have the right to leave your house and go wherever you want to. And you see how far this has gone, right? It started off, wearing masks and all that. I'm not even going to go through the list. But you have to have a reasonable excuse for why you're leaving the house. That's a little weird. Like, that's a little dictatorship, communism. That's past, like, that's almost like, it's not even like Nazi Germany, but it's worse than Nazi Germany. You need a reasonable excuse to leave your house. Then, they showed that dude who left Sydney to go to Lithgow, or however you pronounce the state. And they said he was pulled over for leaving the city. So he was leaving leaving Sydney, going to Lithgow, and he was pulled over. And they were like, criminal charges could be, laid upon him, because of, him leaving Sydney. And from my thing, and he said he was moving, he was seeing a friend, he was, taking care of a pet, whatever he said. To me, it's like, it doesn't matter what he said. If I'm in my state of Georgia, right, and I want to leave to go to Alabama, or I want to leave to, not even Georgia, he went from like a city to city. So let's say I'm in Atlanta and I want to go to McDonough. They're pulling him over just doing that. Talking about, like, you're breaking health orders, that sort of thing. I don't know if Atlanta to McDonough's a good, comparison. But let's say I want to move states or just travel within my own country. They're pulling people over and arresting them and basically finna see that they may lay out criminal charges for these people who are just doing normal people things. Like, they have health orders where you can't even leave your crib now for any reason. You can't visit friends. You can't try to move to a new location. You can't look for animals, that sort of thing. It's just like, bro, like, this has gotten crazy. And then you hear the like news reporter like, it's getting harder and harder for people to hide doing the wrong thing. And in my head, I'm like, were they doing the wrong thing? When it comes to these types of things that the government is doing or the media is pushing this narrative and stuff like that, it's like they start to make you think that what you're doing is the wrong thing. When in all honesty, Buddy just wanted to leave Sydney. If he wanted to see his friend, okay. If he wanted to move, okay. Who doesn't want to move? If people move from New York to Florida, people move from Cali to Texas, they're not being arrested for it just because COVID's here. That doesn't even make sense. Then it goes on to the, dude, the construction worker, right? He's being sent home because he doesn't have his papers. They said they're checking for QR codes and they're checking for vaccination passports. And it's like, bro, like, y'all live in like pretty much communism. Like, next they gonna say, where's your papers and where's your QR code so we can pay you? Like, what are these folks doing? And then you see like the construction worker manager, he's all for it. He's like, this is necessary. This is something we should be doing. It's just something that needs to be done. And it's like, that's part of the problem also that I see. People see this stuff happening and they're like, whoa, like, this has gotten a little, gone a little far. You know what I mean? And then you have normal people who condone it and they're like, yeah, the government's doing the right thing. Yeah, these health orders make sense, yada, yada. But then they fail to realize that once you have this sort of thing happening, like, oh, you're being sent home because you don't have your papers. And, everybody has to feed their family, or, oh, you don't have the QR codes, this, that. It's like, what's next? You feel me? Like, it started off with this COVID, and now you can't work. Now you can't leave your house. You have to have a valid reason. Now you can't be a teenager just hanging out by the park. Now you can't do you can't sneeze anymore. And it's like, now they're controlling everything you do. You know what I mean? Like, at first it started off as in just recommendations, wear a mask, lockdowns, yada, yada. And now we're telling you what you can do with your body. If your body does anything that we say it can't, then automatically you're arrested, there's a warrant put out for you, or you're fined. And, even like the dude that's sent home, right? I'm like, okay, he's sent home. He doesn't have the papers. He's not doing what he should be doing. And I'm like, okay, they sent him home for it. If it was me, I'd be like, all right, cool, I'm going home. You feel me? There is, the Lord will find me another way to actually get paid or make some money or be fed, feed my family. That's just how I look at it. But the fact they sent Buddy home for not having his papers and QR codes and everything. And then they said, and if officers want to, they can still fine him. So not only would he not be getting paid for that day of pay for not having his vaccine passport or not having his QR codes, but on top of that, let's say he just left his vaccine passport at home because he just forgot it. You feel me? He just forgot it. Just a healthy mistake, just a one-time mistake. Then officers can still fine him? Like, I don't understand. Like, what's the point? You feel me? Why send him home if you can still fine him? He's still wearing a mask. He was wearing a mask there. He just hasn't been vaccinated. And see, it's just like they just gone so far, as in whatever we say do, if you don't follow it, then you're arrested, you're fined. Like, people in America, they're like, oh, it'll never happen here. But it's like, they've already started mandating stuff in New York. They moved it on to Cali. Next, they're going to be like, you can't leave, Cali or New York. Then they'll be like, you're going to be fined in Cali or New York. You're going to be arrested in Cali and New York. Like, you can't leave your house. Why are you going places without a reasonable excuse? And it's just like, this has gone too far. And, like I said in the beginning, people would say, well, if they had guns, this wouldn't be happening. But to me, it's like, it doesn't have anything to do with guns, because you can give everybody guns. But if regular people still think that this is okay for their government to do to people, And the media is pushing that same narrative that, oh, those people who aren't doing the right thing, they're getting harder and harder to hide, doing the wrong thing and stuff like that. It's like, this is going to continue and it will get worse. Like, regular people will have to speak up, protest. This is stuff people should actually be protesting about. And people in America, to me, should be keeping a clean eye out for, like, searching high and low to make sure this doesn't come here, because it's only going to come to America next. America moves a little bit slower when it comes to these types of, like, communism and North Korean, China, Russia type things. But it's going to be Germany type things. But can I see your papers? You have your QR codes? That's coming next. We've already started some of that. But it is what it is, man. I just thought that video was crazy. You know, I was like, there's no way that people are being fined and arrested for sneezing, for just traveling from Sydney to Lithgow, sending people home, but still fining them even after they're being sent home. Like, that's a bit much, dog. That's a bit much. But yeah, man, you know, leave your comments down below if y'all, what y'all think. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe they should be doing this type of thing. But as always, man, it's been your boy Chad, and I thank y'all for watching. I'm out. Peace.